It is true that AI can replace your job. However, it cannot replace you. As long as you know who you are beyond your job title, AI cannot replace you. This is the gist of this conversation today. If we haven't met, I'm Linda. Yes, the reality is that in our modern world, the AI pace is very fast. Things are changing fast. Automation, jobs are being restructured, roles are changing. However, this gives us the opportunity to ask a deeper question. What is it that cannot be replaced? I want to suggest that you cannot be replaced. Therefore, I'm going to be sharing my experience with you when I left my 9-to-5 job and I was not adequately prepared for this modern, technologically fast and automated world. So I had to confront reality and ask myself, going forward, I don't want to go back to a 9-to-5 job. Who am I? What am I going to do? What value can I offer? Somehow, at the time, I was going through a dark patch, feeling hollow, not seeing the future as I then started seeing it when I asked the unsettling questions of identity. I looked at my life, my experience, the wins, the losses, the disappointments, the people I had served who were continuing to come to me for assistance. But I was not understanding that I was being nudged to something deep and rich and very exciting, because I then asked myself, what is my value? You see, when there are changes, particularly at work, and this is for you over 40 women, or over 30 for that matter, over 50, over 60, there comes a time when you ask yourself, you're not sure who you are. You feel somehow deficient. I went through that. And that led me to something very, very deep of discovering that I still had value to offer. And that led me to then plan my consulting business, my mentorship business, even my writing. I started writing, but what I did, I had to look at the reality and accept that we were going through a period of transition. I too was going through a period of transition. And if you are one of those people, and I'm sure I'm talking to you, you too are going through a phase of transition. I then realized that as far as employment is concerned, that is no longer what matters. What matters to me is what contribution can I make. I looked at the fact that it was no longer possible just to cling to the stability of a job, or just one job if you are employed. That it was important, again, to look at your identity, what else you can offer if you are in a 9-to-5 job. What is it that you can also add outside your job title? That is important because, as I've indicated, things are changing so fast that jobs are actually being lost, taken over by artificial intelligence. So we cannot talk about the stability of a job. I did that audit. And I also came to a realization, as I've indicated, that it was no longer important just to focus on a title. These days, most of us do not have titles, but we are adding values. And that is why we are offering what we are offering. And that is why I am addressing myself to you with the hope that I am adding value to how you experience life, that I'm adding value when it comes to nudging you to something bigger and better and exciting, because I've been through that. So, what I did when I was planning my new life, the new chapter, taking into consideration what I've shared with you, I had to then do an audit of my life. I didn't think, I just jotted down everything that was real, my past life, what I had done, with whom I had done it, and the losses, the gains, the betrayals, just that lived life. And that is where answers came. And then I was reminded that I love writing. I was reminded that I love working with people. I love speaking, conveying a message that encourages, that coaches, that makes people expand and grow. I jotted that down. And obviously, I also realized that I am very, very fortunate that when I was a young lawyer, I worked very closely with Nelson Mandela, and there are so many lessons I learned, to such an extent that there is a book that is going to be published in the near future, and that book has been inspired by the lessons I learned, and it is for a generation that refuses to sacrifice or compromise its values, a generation that refuses to remain powerless in this changing and challenging world. And I then realized that, wow, there was a book following me, and that is why this book is going to be published. So, the point I'm making is that I had to take stock of my life, and that became the raw material for what I am doing. Having said that, it also became important for me to accept that it is critical, it's important, it's imperative to be a learner every day, to read, to take life as a lifelong learning experience. And I'm encouraging you to do that. Learn and learn and learn. I had to learn a new skill. I had never ever made a video. And can you imagine how traumatized I was when I had to make a video? And today I am talking to you. You are right in front of me. So, the new skill. I also realized that I needed to learn a lot about money and the management of money, investment, etc. Because at law school, we had not been taught just to take money as an important subject. It just was not even mentioned. And can you imagine a whole lawyer who was, I would say, financially illiterate? So I enjoy reading a lot about money, and I even decided that when it comes to my system, I am going to have a financial management system just for myself, so that I learn the importance of managing money, the importance of investing in assets, the importance of not just spending for the sake of spending. So I've become quite prudent about that, and I continue to learn and learn and learn about money and matters financial. So I got that was an opportunity. I then realized that I needed a support system, and a simple but supportive system. I decided to design it myself because you know why? If, for instance, you are no longer motivated to do something, you do need a system to support you. For example, I've just indicated to you that it became imperative for me to learn new skills, right up to informing myself about matters financial. And that is now an integral part of who I am. It is a lesson, and I took it one step at a time, and I am enjoying the fact that I can confidently say, I've learned a lot about managing money. I've learned a lot about financial systems. I've learned a lot about why it is important to save, and I've learned a lot about how banks, just the banking system, operates. I didn't know these things, and I was just a professional, a practicing lawyer, and I had to go deep to matters that had indicated to me that I needed to improve. I needed to learn. I needed to sharpen my life so that I become wealthy, healthy, and that I become financially and socially free. Wealth, health, and freedom have become very, very important to me. And that is why I am sharing this message, because I would like, hopefully, I would like for you to take something and maybe start implementing it. But when it comes to systems, this is what I learned, as I've indicated. The system had to be simple. It had to be my system, and it needed to be easily implementable. Starting from when I wake up, being healthy, being health conscious, getting my body to move, hydrating, reading, doing research, and making sure that I plan my day every morning. And I do plan my day. And what is exciting is that I now have a morning routine that comes easily to me. So when I jotted down what I call my daily system, I decided just to jot down simple things, no friction, and I took it one step at a time. I even reminded myself that it was important for me to measure what I commit to do. If I commit to put aside some money and save it, I decided to automate that system so that it is beyond my control. I decided it was important for me to hydrate in the morning before I enjoy the morning coffee. I decided I needed to go for a walk, my body or stretches, and that it was important for me to be particular about just health. I decided I would jot down 2 things that I needed to accomplish that day, starting with something that is challenging that I wanted to avoid, like working on returns for tax returns. It's something that I didn't enjoy. However, I decided that I needed to inform myself, even if I asked my accountant to do the work, but I did not want to be ignorant. And I've learned a lot. I'm now comfortable with all those things. I read a lot, and I make sure that I read. And I've indicated I've written 3 books, and the one that is going to be hitting the shelves very soon, it is a book I will always treasure, and I do hope that when I start promoting it, that you will support. So that was a system. One day at a time. I became disciplined. I was persistent until I internalized the system. It comes naturally now, and that is why I can talk about it. Do design a simple system. It must be your system. It must not be anybody's system. It must be your system. And I also would like to add that if I talk about your system, it doesn't mean that you will be rigid. Yes, do tweak it here and there, but it must be an easy and a simple, doable system every day. You will enjoy your life. It will be orderly. And when it comes to money, I can promise you that opportunities will come, because you are going to be feeling like somebody, who is moving forward. Actually, you will begin to feel abundant, rich. Opportunities will come, and money will flow. I can guarantee that. But be true to yourself. Be disciplined. Give yourself some time. It's not an overnight journey. Give yourself some time. You will celebrate. My parting message is that don't be discouraged. Don't panic when we talk about artificial intelligence, because it will not replace you. Don't compete with the young people who are technologically savvy. Don't. Just be yourself, one step at a time, and enjoy the journey, and trust that all will be well and you will become unstoppable. I do hope that this video adds a spark of encouragement, and to remember to like it, and also remember to subscribe so that I grow a community that is going to be expanding and growing during this challenging time. Thank you for your time.